Hey up, it's Steve from the old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to the next part of my series. My favourite films from each year since I was born. Or whatever. I still can't think of a snappy title. Anyway, we're up to 1976. I was 9 years old in this year. And I've picked 5 films and an honourable mention. So, there we go. As usual, these are my 5 favourite films and an honourable mention of the year. Not necessarily the best films, although one of the films, actually, maybe there's more than one. Several of these films are Oscar winners, and one of them did win for Best Picture. You may guess from that what that movie is. Anyway, so there we go. But before we continue, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell, slap that super thanks and send some money whistling in my direction if you enjoy these videos that I do. If you don't, whatever. That's fine as well. Right, so let's get on with these films, shall we? Let's get on with them. So off we go. First up, we've got a war film. The Eagle Has Landed. Directed by John Sturges, starring Michael Caine, like an all-star cast. Michael Caine, Donald Sutherland, Robert Duvall, I forgot his name now. Treat Williams, I think. Yes, Treat Williams. Larry Hagman, Jenny Agutter, Donald Pleasance, Anthony Quayle, Jean Marsh, Judy Geeson, John Standing. Oh, the list goes on. It's an amazing film based on a book by Jack Higgins. About a plot to kidnap Winston Churchill from a sleepy English village. Essentially, some German special forces infiltrate this village in England during World War II, and disguised, I think, as Polish soldiers. I think I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched it. And they're going to kidnap Churchill and try and force, a British surrender and all that stuff. And obviously, hijinks ensue. And it's an amazing film, some great action and some, little comedy moments. More bloody foreigners and stuff like that. It's a great film. It is a great film. And Donald Sutherland excels as a charming bad guy. He's a bad guy, but you kind of feel sympathy for him. I don't know how. I don't know. You just do. It's just the way he plays it. He's a baddie, but for some reason he's a charming baddie. But anyway, and so is Michael Caine in a way. He's a German officer. Michael Caine as a German, and you also you feel for him as well, and for the good guys as well. So anyway, so it's a really good film. So give that a whirl. Right, moving on. Next up, The Omen. This won an Oscar for Best Score, I do believe. Yes, it won for Best Original Score by Jerry Goldsmith. I don't know if that's the only one Jerry ever won. I think it might have been, but I could be wrong. But anyway, The Omen from Richard Donner. Richard Donner's, I don't think it was his first film, but an early film from Richard Donner. This is what he says, this is the one that got him Superman. But a great horror film, a classic horror film starring Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, David Warner, Patrick Troughton, Billy Whitelaw, as the two innocent people who end up being the parents of the Antichrist, Damien, and topically enough, there's a new film coming out called The First Omen, which I'm not sure is going to be any good, but we'll see. I think they're messing about with the lore and the canon a little bit, but anyway. So like I said, it's a great film, a great horror film with some great deaths in it, and a classic death by for two classic deaths in my opinion, for two great characters in the film. As Gregory Peck plays the United States ambassador to Great Britain. He learns his son is the Antichrist. He's going to bring about the end of the world and all that. So it's his task to essentially kill his own son, and all the stuff that ensues. It's a great film, one of my favourite horror films, and I'm sure one that will do eventually in Friday Night Appointment with Fear. So there we go. So that's The Omen. Next up is the big Oscar winner from this year, Rocky, written by and starring Sylvester Stallone, directed by John G. Avildsen, also starring Talia Shire, Carl Weathers, Burgess Meredith, and Burt Young. It's a great sports movie. I think Rocky Sylvester Stallone I think wrote it quite quickly. He was down to his last few books, so this is how the story goes, and he sold the film, and he stuck to his guns. They didn't want him to star in it, did the studio, but he stuck to his guns, and he said, this is a film that I'm going to star in. And the rest is history. It won for Best Picture, I think it won for Best Screenplay, hang on, let's check, and Best Editing. It won 3 Oscars in a row, essentially. Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Film Editing. Sorry, it was nominated for Best Screenplay. It got 10 nominations in all, and it won 3. So, who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? People think of Sylvester Stallone as this lumbering idiot. He's a clever chap. He is very clever. And it's a great film with great music from Bill Conti, great fight scenes, and a great ending that, spoilers, Rocky doesn't win in the end. Just to let you know that. I don't think he loses either. People say that Rocky loses in this. Is it a draw? I'm sure it's a draw. So, Apollo Creed retains his title. Right, so let's move on. Next up, we're in Doug McClure territory. Yay! With At the Earth's Core, directed by Kevin Connor, starring Doug McClure, Peter Cushing, Carolyn Munro. A great sci-fi, fantasy, action flick with rubbish effects, but I love them. Based on Edgar Rice Burroughs' book. Doug McClure and Peter Cushing. I've always thought Doug McClure in this plays the same character as the character in Warlords of Atlantis. He doesn't, but in my head canon he does. Because he's this not an inventor, but like an engineer that builds all this cool stuff. And in this one he's built a drilling device called the Mole. I think it's called the Mole. And the want to go. Peter Cushing has designed it. Doug McClure's built it, and they're going to tunnel through a mountain. Something goes wrong. They end up. They're not at the Earth's core. They're in the outer core or something like that, under the mantle. They end up in a land called, I can't remember. Let me check. Pellucida. They end up in a land called Pellucida, where people live and monsters live, and for some reason these pterodactyls, which I think are Rhamphorhynchus pterodactyls, are in control because they're telepathic, and it's just men in pterodactyl suits. It looks rubbish. All the monsters look rubbish, but it's still amazing. I still love it. So there we go. It's a great film. Give it a whirl. Who else is in it? That we know? Robert Gillespie is in it. There we go. Right, anyway, so there we go. So that's At the Earth's Core. Great fun. Right, finally, in my top 5, remember we've got an honourable mention to go. We've got Logan's Run, directed by Michael Anderson and starring Michael York, Jenny Agutter, Richard Jordan, Roscoe Lee Brown. So I don't like his character in this, but anyway. Farrah Fawcett briefly, Peter Ustinov, basically being Peter Ustinov. Did I say Richard Jordan? Did I miss him out? Whatever, say him again. A classic sci-fi that won an Oscar, or special Oscar. It might be the first one, I don't know. For special visual effects. I have no idea why, because they're not that good in this. But it still won. There's some great matte paintings in it, but the model work, it's not great. Better than I could do, but it's not great. Anyway, as I said, it stars Michael York, Jenny Agutter as Logan 5, Jessica 7. Is it Jessica 7? I think it is. No, Jessica. I can't remember now. Let me check. It might be Jessica 6. Francis 7 is Richard Jordan. They've all got names, first names and numbers, because they all live. It's set in a future where people live in domed cities, and they live an idyllic life, but only until they're 30. I think in the original book it was like 21, but they upped it to 30 for the film. Jessica 6, yes, sorry. Jenny Agutter plays Jessica 6. And they go they have these crystals in the palms of their hands, and when they turn red, I think it's turned red, it's time for last day, and they go to this thing called carousel, and they all get killed in explosive ways. It's all very psychedelic, and the people are told that they'll be reborn in the next generation of citizens of the Dome City. But obviously this is a lie, and then you get people that don't believe it, and they want to escape to Sanctuary, a place, mythical place called Sanctuary. And Logan and Francis are what's called Sandmen. I have no idea why they call them Sandmen. Maybe it's because they put people to sleep, like Mr. Sandman. I don't know. But they're the ones that capture and terminate runners. So it's called Logan's Run. People who are trying to escape the Dome City. That's their job. And Logan is sent on a mission to find Sanctuary, and to make it look as though he wants to escape. His crystal is changed, so it looks like he's on last day. So he escapes with Jessica 6. He really does want to escape now, because he thinks it were all a lie, and he ends up coming across Roscoe Lee Brown as Box. It's terrible. It is terrible. It's that a weird thing that's just there in the film. But anyway, they get out. That's where they meet Peter Ustinov, who lives outside. He's the only person for some reason. I don't know how he's survived so long by himself. I don't know, but him and his cat. And that's it. It's a great film. It's a great film. It's a lot of fun. It's of its age. It's of its time. Despite its Oscar for Best Special Visual Effects, it's not that good. They are not that good. It birthed a short-lived TV series, which, in my opinion, might have been better than the film. I loved that TV series with all different actors playing the same characters. You saw more of the outside, and I think the effects were better because his gun, he fires this gun that has flames that come out of it. But in the series, they had different settings, and it could be a ray gun as well, and stun and stuff like that. So it were a lot of fun with the series. I liked Logan's Run, the TV series. Anyway, so there we go. So that's Logan's Run. Give it a whirl. I know I always say that, but it's true. I think this was the first VHS tape I ever owned. It was a Christmas present. So there we go. And I've still got it down there somewhere. Right, finally, my honourable mention for this year, for 1976, is Carrie. Classic horror film based on, I think, the first book by Stephen King. Obviously, it's the first adaptation of a Stephen King book, the first of many. Directed by Brian De Palma. As I said, based on the book by Stephen King. Starring Sissy Spacek, Piper Laurie, Amy Irving, Nancy Allen, William Catt, PJ Souls, and John Travolta in an early role. And it's a great horror film. It's a bit of a slow burn, and I think the ending is overrated. People go on about the ending. It's like a shock ending. A jump scare, I suppose you could say. It's never scared me. I don't know how people rave about it. It's not even like a fast thing that happens. It just happens. But anyway, I'll not spoil it. Anyway, let's say it's a great film. Carrie is a young 16-year-old girl at high school. Her mother, Piper Laurie, is like a religious zealot. She's a bit kooky. And Carrie, she blossoms into womanhood, we'll say. And she falls in love with her classmate, William Catt, and but she's always picked on and bullied because she's timid and shy. Played brilliantly. I don't know if did this win any awards? Let me check. It should have done. No, it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. Best Actress, Sissy Spacek. I think she should have won it. And Best Supporting Actress from Piper Laurie, which were well deserved. I think Sissy Spacek should have won this year. But anyway. Where were we? Anyway, she gets picked on by the other school friends, Nancy Allen and PJ Souls and all that. And things then start happening, like light bulbs explode and stuff like that. Things start happening around Carrie. And then we learn that she's got telekinesis, and it ends in the famously gory and explosive finale in at the prom, where a prank goes awry, and Carrie becomes a vengeful angel. Going around doing her thing. I'll not spoil it if you've not seen it. Surely everybody's seen Carrie and know what the ending is, but I'll not spoil it. It had a budget of 1.8 million only, and had a box office of 33.8. So it did really well, and I think it should have won more accolades than it did. It had a remake in recent years that were okay. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't a terrible remake, but you can't beat the original. So there we go. So that's my honourable mention. So give that one a whirl as well, as I always say. Right. So that's it. That's my list for 1976. We'll go through it one more time. Right. So first up we had The Eagle Has Landed. That was followed by The Omen. Then we had Rocky. Then At the Earth's Core. Logan's Run. And then my honourable mention for 1976 is Carrie. So there we go. So that's it. That's my top 5 and an honourable mention. Favourite films from each year that I've been born, I've been alive, whatever, 1976. There we go. That's it. So we'll leave it there. What does 1977 offer? I bet you can't guess, can you? Let's have a look at hang on, where are we? Let's have a look. 1977. Oddly enough, I don't have an honourable mention for this year. It is strange, isn't it? But anyway, 1978, I've got lots of honourable mentions, but not for 1977. So we've got the obvious, the obvious film from 1977 about some sort of battle in outer space. You might guess. We've got a James Bond film, we've got a Steven Spielberg film, we've got a war film, we've got a Ray Harryhausen film. So there we go. Amazing. I'm going to have to look at this year again. I must have some honourable mentions for 1977. Surely. But anyway, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say there.